Hi, welcome to Tea and Mystics. Today I'm going to be sharing a short review of Enchiridion by Leo Handbook, or the Pope Leo Handbook, and this edition is by Black Letter Press, while I am sipping on some Jasmine tea. The Enchiridion, or Pope Leo's Handbook, is a fascinating mix of Catholic prayers and incantations for protection and such things, while also mixing in some folk magic which comes in at the end. This edition of the Enchiridion is a modern English translation from a 1633 Latin text, which also came with some French spells within it. So this book combines them all, and it also shares at the back of the book the original Latin. So if you wanted, you're able to read the modern translation and the original Latin. The book also features a really wonderful introduction to really ground yourself in understanding a bit about why the book was produced, what it could be used for, and why it's so interesting that it combines these more traditional Catholic prayers and incantations with also folk magic. So it's a really interesting and wonderful book. I really enjoyed reading it, and Black Letter Press does such remarkable work when they put out an edition of anything. As you can see, it's a really wonderful size, just like a great companion book size, and it has this nice cloth bound cover, and the text is really clear and easy to read. If you can see, just a nice size for reading. It also features some of the keys and symbols that were found in the book, and it puts it in this edition. So I'm really impressed once again with Black Letter Press. And if you're someone who has an interest in Catholic folk magic, and just the use of prayers and incantations in history, I think this book would be really interesting to you to pick up. As the introduction shares, especially when you really get to the latter half of the book, what you're sort of seeing is some of the concerns that people would have had at that time in the 1600s, what they were trying to protect themselves from, and it's a bit of an insight into what it was like to live back then. So for instance, you do often see some prayers and some of the folk magic at the end bringing up that it can protect during childbirth, because as you probably are aware, childbirth was actually quite dangerous back then, and there was also a lot of conflict and battles taking place, so you'll see some folk magic to protect you, for instance, from being struck by a cannon. So even just as a historical document, it's really interesting, and I really loved it. And once again, this is the fourth, no, I don't know, this is the this is the 8th book I've gotten from Black Letter Press, and I haven't been disappointed yet. They do wonderful, wonderful work. I'll link to them down below. Today I am sipping on some Jasmine tea, which I often enjoy in the afternoons. This Jasmine tea is again from Citizen Tea, and I find Jasmine tea just a really delightful tea to have in the early afternoon, and it also can have some health benefits that I've read about that you may want to check out yourself if you're interested in how Jasmine tea can support our health. Thanks so much for tuning in to Tea and Mystics. Cheers!